Create a new project, new composition, use these settings, hit OK, go to one view, and pick your materials, move them in your panel. So there you have them. Just pick the sky, the cloudless blue sky, and move it in your timeline. Then take the clouds, the balloon, and pick the T, the type tool, create a container, and there write once upon a time. Move that to the top of the other layer so you are sure you can see that one, and hit caps lock in your keyboard. So be free to use the style you prefer. And go to title action save here to see where the middle is and move it in the middle. I recommend you also to move the anchor point. So take the anchor point tool here and move it in the middle. V in your keyboard to have the normal selector, and disable the title action save. So there, if clouds and balloon annoys you because maybe you have a different view, you can hide them. Right now, just create the layer, new camera, and pick a two-node camera, 35 millimeters, and hit OK. And hit OK. So here, choose two views, and we are going to make an animation of 4 seconds. So for the camera here, open transform position and create a keyframe at the beginning. And you can pick the dolly towards cursor and move it there to the right, or you can directly move here the camera down. I will stick on this position and then plus 400 to go to 4 seconds, and we can move the numbers here or move the Z from the screen. And let's go here. So we are kind of zooming, yeah? Go to active camera selected. You should see the blue corners and choose camera 1. Then go to classic 3D here. Be sure it's not Cinema 4D, but classic 3D, because today we are going to use some little tools that don't work in Cinema 4D. So be sure it's classic 3D and hit OK. So go to File, Save As, create a new folder in your laptop and call this Camera Movement and save it. So close the camera here and select all the other layers and activate them as 3D layers, and also activate the motion blur. The motion blur allows you to have a little blur while they move or while the camera is moving, so it's much more natural. And be sure also this motion blur here is activated. When it's not activated, it's like this. When it's activated, it's like this. So then move your scale very far away. So it's actually a sky, and the only thing that should stay there is the text. So move the clouds. One could be at the top of the other, like this. And then let's move the balloon here. If that's too big, we can scale it, as for scale, and let's go to 50%. So that's much more little. Be sure you have activated also the 3 dimension for the once upon a time and also the blur motion. I didn't, for example. and then move the balloon there. Go to the beginning of your timeline so you actually see the first view. And notice, for example, in my case, the sky is too little. So I can scale that one. Pick that one, rename it as sky so you can recognize it. As for scale, and make it bigger. There we have it. Then Command D to double the balloon and move it to the right. You can go up. You can put it far away. And there, go to Effects and Presets and look for Color Balance HLS. This one, not the first one, the second one. Double click on that one to activate it on the balloon layer. And so rotate this little thing until you reach a color you like. So right now, this is the movement of the camera. You can go to Fast Draft and to Quarter to preview that one. And click space in your keyboard. And if nothing happens, as in my case, that's because the render is very slow. It takes time, but it doesn't matter. You can just grab the blue line like this to see what happens. So right now I can notice that when I arrive to 4 seconds, I can't even see one sap on a time. So what I would like to do is to move the clouds a little bit. Let's take the cloud that is to the left and E for position. I will create a keyframe, then I will go to 4 seconds plus 400, and there I move it a little bit to the left like this. And also, why not a little bit to the Z? Let's do the same thing for the other one. So cloud J, P for position, create a keyframe, K, and I will move that a little bit to the right. So I will take the X and Z. So this is my movement, yeah. When I go at the beginning I go to the beginning of my timeline and I take the camera one, I open the settings and the camera options. Here, where you see depth of field, instead of off click, you should have an on, and we are going to create a sort of blur in the first thing the camera see, because we want that to be focused on once upon a time. So here for the aperture, grab this one and notice what happens when you go, for example, to 151. In my case, nothing happens, so I will go to off, final quality, and full for the resolution, and still nothing happens. I will go quicker, close here. And if I move a lot this aperture to something like 528, I can notice this is blurred. I will go to something like 105, so that's not too much. Something like 105 is okay. Go to the beginning of the timeline, and there, for the focus distance, create a keyframe and move it until it reaches the point where the text is. That is actually this one for me. Then go to 4 seconds plus 400 and do the opposite thing. So move it back it should reach the point where the text is. So the focus distance is where the focus stick. So in this case, we want once upon a time to be focused. I go to fast draft, quarter to preview that one, and I will pick one view here, fit. There it is. The resolution is very bad because of the fast draft, but I can see something here, so that's good for me. I'm not happy about the balloons, so I will go again to two views, and I want other balloons there, so I pick one of them, Command D in my keyboard to copy that one, and I move it. I change the color, and this little thing is the same of this, yeah? So I go to flip in the FX and presets and look for flip, double click on that one. And I can notice now it's not the right flipping, yeah? So here for the scale height, instead of minus, I write 100, and now it's as the same of the other one. So here to the scale width, write a minus, and there it is. I want that to be much more close to me, so I can see actually unfocus that one while I'm passing with the camera. There it is. And I want these balloons to move. So I will create a new layer, new null object, and I will say to this null object to move in the space, and then I will say to the balloons to copy the movement of this null object. Now I show you how. Create it, P for position, create a keyframe at the beginning of the timeline, then write 400 and move it there a little bit to the top. So this is the little movement our balloons will do. Then pick the balloons, demo, and take the pick whip, this little thing, and release it on the null one. And you can recognize here it's written null one right now. That means they are going to copy the same attitude that in this case is about the position of the null one. So if we have a look to the animation, there's so little this movement, we don't even notice. So we can create another balloon there, Command D, and let's move this one. And let's change the color. Which is not this, by the way, but this one. There it is. It's too close to the once upon a time. I want that to be to the right of that one, like this. Take the once upon a time here and look for ramp in the FX in presets, gradient ramp. And we are going to create a gradient. I want to swap the colors, and instead of the black, I want a little bit pink here, so it's warmer. Then you can choose the starting point of the gradient and the end point of the gradient. I will go with this, yeah. Then look for bevel alpha to have a little bit of bevel, and instead of 2 write 1, And now go to File, Save, File, Export, Add to Adobe Media Encoder Queue. Be sure you have something like this so it's not too big, and choose a place in your laptop and then click on play to render that one.